1, integers and absolute value. Anybody remember what an integer is? Aspen? Negatives and positive what? Okay. There's a little more specific word that I'm also looking for. Negative, positive is good, but there's another word I'm looking for. So like, is negative 3.5 an integer? It's a whole number. Yes, it's a whole number. So negative 3.5 would not be an integer. So integers are negative and positive whole numbers, and that's what we're talking about today. So, first vocabulary words I have for you. Integers, positive, negative, absolute value. If you don't want to write positive and negative numbers down because you know that stuff, you for sure need to have this and this one. Those are for sures. Integers, I have whole numbers and their opposites. If you want to write, like, in parentheses behind that, the negative numbers, like, if that confused you and their opposites, maybe you need to write negatives behind that. Absolute value is how far a number is from 0. And the symbol is 2 lines on the side. I hope you kind of remember that from last year. Honestly, it's like the biggest, the easiest thing in math, but we all forget how to do them, or they somehow just get confusing. And I don't know why. So absolute value is one of the simplest things. How far something is from 0. The answer to every absolute value is a positive number. It's a positive number because I just want to know how many spaces it is. Regardless of what's inside the symbol, if it's positive or negative, it's still always going to be a positive answer no matter what's inside. Okay? Anybody still need this yet? So let's quick talk about these also, just quickly. Inequalities are comparing two different things. We're going to talk about inequalities a lot this year, more so towards the end of the year. But we do hit it a little bit here just to show like what's bigger, -5 or -7. So we use it a little bit here just to show your knowledge of what is a bigger or smaller number. So if you don't remember these, if you do, great. If you don't, like me, I sometimes get them confused. This is, let's see, this is less than. And a lot of times, if you're like me too, like you don't remember which is which, you just know the bigger side goes towards the bigger number. That's great. You can do that. Yep. Go take care of it. Okay. Less than. This is greater than. These right here, this is less than or equal to. You guys remember these from last year? Okay. These are greater than or equal to. So like if you need an example, you could do this. This could be an example, like 7 is less than or equal to 7. That works because it's or equal to. So they can be equal to each other and ones like that, remember? Or like this one can be -8 is greater than or equal to -8. That's also true because it's or equal to. So basically it's 2 signs in one. It's basically 2 signs in one. These up here still the same. So 9 is less than 10, or maybe -15 is greater than -20. Okay, so those are just some examples. But just remember these two down here, they can be or equal to. So those can have 2 different meanings to it. Okay. You guys have questions on these? You remember how they work from last year a little bit? We'll do some practice with them. Okay. All right, so let's talk about which number is greater here. Okay. Now you might be like, oh, I know this. This is so elementary. But seriously, there will be people that get mixed up, especially when we get to ones that look like this and look like this. Why do you think those are the ones that are missed the most? Why do you think those are the ones that are missed the most? Why do you think, Nevaeh? Yeah, the bigger number, yeah, they think the bigger number is always going to be greater, but is that true? Not all the time, because if you think of negative numbers, like, look at, yeah, they get bigger going down, but that doesn't mean they're truly bigger. If you get confused at that stuff, think of the temperature, think of, like, you know what I mean, the temperature. If I say, which one's warmer, -5 or -20? What's warmer? -5. Okay, so that one's greater. That's an easy way to think about it, is using your temperature. Like saying, oh, okay, well, even for this one, which one's warmer, -5 or -5.5? What's warmer here? Aspen? -5, right. Anything that's closest to 0, the number that's closest to 0 is always greater, in the negative portion anyway, okay? The numbers that's closest to 0 is always greater. So if I look at this one, what's greater here? 8. Yep. If you aren't sure, say, okay, what's colder? Well, -9 is colder, then that one's way smaller. Okay. Which one's greater here, 6 or -4? 6. What about over there, -10 and 39? That's a no-brainer, right? If it's just negative and a positive, the positive one's always going to be greater. 7 or -7? 7's greater. 9 or 4? 9, just like you normally know how to do. Like I said, these are the ones that are going to give you the most trouble. Are those right there. Okay. So in your homework today, they might have something that look like this. They might have like -7, and then they might have a circle, and then they might have -7 and 75 hundredths. And they say, okay, put in a sign, greater than, equal to, less than, put in the sign. What sign should go there? What sign should go there? Yep. Okay. Okay, is that yours or to me? Is that going to me or to you? So it should go like this. Yep, because -7 is greater than -7 and 75 hundredths. Okay, so be careful. Make sure you know what those mean. Okay, absolute value. So you might want to take some good notes on absolute value. Okay, absolute value is automatically going to have the bars around it. Now, a lot of times my 7th graders get confused, like, oh, if they have the bars around it, they need to stay around it. That's not true. As soon as you figure the absolute value, the bars, like, poof, disappear. Okay? So, for example, this says right here, what's the absolute value of -4? It's going to be 4 because it's 4 spaces from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a negative. It's just 4 spaces from 0. That's all. And the bars, poof, disappear. So we don't need them anymore. As soon as we find the absolute value, they're gone. So if I asked you what's the absolute value of 9, what would you say? Just regular 9. What's the absolute value of -10? Just 10. Just 8. Just 1. Because it's just how many spaces from 0. So if it's like me saying, okay, what's the absolute value of -4 up there? I'm just going to count how many spaces from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. It's just spaces. 0 is not a negative number, right? But it's still just spaces. So you could count them up there. And that's why the positives are still positive, because it's just that many spaces. So all absolute value answers are always positive unless something else happens, and I can show you that later. But for now, everything is positive. So you might have to evaluate some expressions that have absolute value bars. Now, if they have absolute value bars, the first thing you're going to do is take care of what's in the absolute value bars. Okay? You're going to do nothing else. Worry about the absolute value. So, for example, if I have the absolute value of -10 plus 4, I'm going to find the absolute value of -10. 10. Then I do 10 plus 4. The end. Okay? So figure out the absolute value bars first, and then do your problem, or whatever they're asking you to do, subtraction, addition, multiplication, I don't know. Okay? Well, yeah. And you know, you got to kind of look and see what's going on. I mean, this is going to be a 4, this is going to be a 3, and you're still going to subtract, right? So you're just going to do your whatever in your bars first, figure out their positives or whatever, and then do your problem. This answer would be 1. This one up here? On the outside? Okay, if it's on the outside, first you're still going to figure this out. What's that? 16. The absolute value bars go away, but this is still left. That's the only time you can have a negative answer with some absolute value, is if that negative's on the outside of the bars. Okay? You guys awake this morning? All right, tell me about it. It's always hot in here. Welcome to my life. You're 14. Okay, -2 be 2. 8 plus 2, 10. Make sure you're doing everything in the absolute value bars, okay? That's the biggest thing today. Okay, I better make sure I know what I'm talking about here before I... Oh, gotcha. Okay, so they're going to give you a problem, and you have to figure out the integer that goes along with it. So, like, for example, what does 5 below 0 look like? -5. That's all they're asking. If I said my yards were decreased by 10 this week, what would you say? -10. So let's write some words. Let's like make us a good list of some words that mean positives and negatives, so we don't have to guess what some of these words mean. Okay. So let's start with negative words first. Negative words. Decrease. I just used that one. Withdraw. This is what a lot of people don't know. That has to do with banking. If you're withdrawing from the bank, it means you're taking money out. So money's going away. So that means negative. Loss, less than, below, before. Let's see, anything else? Below sea level, it's up there. Loss, less than. Make sure you know these words, because that will help you in your homework today. Okay, and the positive words, the biggest one people don't know here is, I don't even have it, deposit. That is a plus word, and you're going to have to know that, because that's like when you're going to a bank, you're depositing money. So today they're going to give you a sentence, and you have to write the integer for it. How is after? That's a good question. After 0? No, that's not how it's used. That's not how it's used. If it's already in here, I don't think so. After? I don't know if I got to think of a good word for that. A good one. 10 minutes after? Plus 10? 10 minutes after? That's the easiest one I could think of. You add 10 minutes to it. In addition, gain, increase, but deposit's the biggest one. I just gave 7th graders a test today, and they didn't know that one. They had no idea what that meant. So, no, they didn't know what deposit meant. Deposit. Okay. So another example, like 12 strokes below par, you write it -12. Okay. They're only going to have a few on your homework for you.